So the big question is this: how do aspiring real estate investors like us escape from the rat race and build real wealth and freedom without access to millions of dollars in investment capital and start to live the life that we know we deserve? This is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Zack Childress, and welcome to Real Estate Investing Talk Show. We have a big topic today, and that topic is: how do we hire the right contractor? Well, I'm going to share some tidbits with you out of my Rehabbing Made Easy course. This is a two-part course. We have the home study course plus the live in the field 3 days with me, depending on how you learn. And if you want that experience, you should definitely call one of our student advisors. But I'm going to share some of it out of here today with you because it's such a very valuable training that helps you get better at understanding that contractors are not the problem. It's your ability to vet them up front, spend a little extra time to make sure you have the right one, and then managing them is really the key when it comes to contractors. But what I do want to talk about with you today is a really good way when it comes to hiring the right contractor, and also known as picking the contractor. So inside my massive Real Estate Made Easy training manual, I'm going to go to page 131. So if you've been to my bus tour or have my Rehabbing Home Study course, you can follow along. So we're going to go to page 134 out of 300 pages. So one of the easiest ways for me, and I have found this to be the safest route for me when it comes to hiring a contractor that I don't have a relationship with, or, was not somebody that a buddy of mine who flips a lot of houses has been using forever. And I know they have the great credentials. But also I love Home Depot. A lot of you guys ask me where I go to get a lot of contractors. I get them from Home Depot. But either way, I'm going to ask one simple question to the contractor. And that is, can you provide me with 3 referrals? And I want 3 referrals on the minimum. And if it's a good contractor, they'll say, well, look, here's 8 or 9 or 10 of them. Call them up. If it's a bad contractor, they're going to have a hard time getting you 1 referral. And sometimes if they're a bad contractor, they're going to give you a referral from someone that they know or out of state. I won't take it. If they can't give me a single referral in the county that I'm doing business in, like, the reality is they probably have not left a good track record, right? And so if they can only give me 1, I got an issue. If they give me 1 that's out of state, I got an issue. But if they can give me 3, that's great. Because here's why. They still may have 3 friends to say, here's referrals. Well, my 6-question test will help overcome that. So, because one of the things I will always ask when I talk to a referral is this a project I can come see? Right? So if it's a friend and they live in a trailer, you're not going to go see it, right? So, but I want to share these with you. So the reference is always about, here's why I ask these questions, because these questions are designed for me to get a very good feel of some things that I know are common issues. Like, for instance, the very first question I'm going to ask a referral is did you use them? Because a lot of contractors think if they hand you referrals, you don't ever even call them. So I'm going to call them up. Hey, Mike, I was given your name and information from Joe over here. He's going to do some work on my property. Can I ask you, did you use Joe in the last 6 to 12 months? Right? Is it a current referral? Well, yeah, we used Joe like 5 years ago. Oh, you did, right? Have you used Joe in the last 6 to 12 months? Yeah, he was over here. He did a kitchen remodel for us. Great. The next question that I'm going to ask them is, were you happy with their work? Were you happy with them? Were you happy with their work? And this is the type of question that, I'm not going to be specific. I'm just going to leave it open. Were you happy? So, happiness can be, it could be stated in many different ways, right? They could say, look, they came in, they did a great job, but I wasn't happy with, how long it took. Or, they came in, did it super fast and that's great, but I wasn't happy with the quality. So I leave it in a question like that so that I can let them share with me what it was that they were happy about. Hey, were you happy with them? Yeah, I was happy with them, but there we go. That's what I'm trying to dig out of them, right? The but part. Here's the other side. If they answer every one of these questions with enthusiastic and they're trying to sell that contractor to you, you probably got one of their buddies, right? That might be a scenario where you could say, well, look, I mean, if you don't mind, could I come see the work that they did? You're just validating it is all. Now, question number 3 is, was the job finished on time? And that's a very important question that you want to ask a referral. Was that job finished on time? Did they get in and get out like they said they would? Because the reality is a good contractor, they're going to get in and get out ahead of time because they're going to tell you this job's going to take me 6 weeks because they think they can get it done in 4 to 5. That's just how a good contractor works. Because why? They don't ever want to have to give a referral to somebody and them say, oh, well, they told me 4 weeks and it took 6. Right? That leaves a bad taste. So a good contractor is going to always give themselves a window to be able to over deliver when they initiate the relationship. And so a lot of times it's getting it done ahead of time. Now there's things that, will pop up on every job. Well, not every job, but I'll give you one. I got one right now. We started the gut job in the property. And as we got into the kitchen and started ripping everything out, we found a wall that completely has been rotted out. We have to literally rebuild the entire wall, which is going to cost us extra. So this is another good note that you need to be aware of. I'm not going to just pay the extra to build the wall because I have a certain amount of profit that I want to make on that job. So I have to give up something else to rebuild that wall. We were going to paint the outside of the house. Now we're not, right? It's a trade-off. Oops, I found this, so I have to give up this. So no longer are we going to paint the outside of the house, but now we're going to fix this wall, this exterior wall that we have to get fixed with windows and so forth. And the problem was created from the roof and so forth. We've already fixed the roof though. So when I'm asking them, was the job finished on time? I want to know their response. And if they say, no, it wasn't. Oh, wow, really? Did it take a lot longer or just a couple of days? Oh, it took an extra 3 weeks. Oh, wow. What was the reason for that? So this allows me to keep digging a little bit more into the referral. What was the reason? Oh, well, it was weather. Oh, gotcha. So that's really not a contractor issue, right? They might have been doing exterior work. But if they say, well, I just couldn't get him on the job. Now I'm getting to the truth, right? And they might say, oh, yeah, it was finished close. Oh, well, what's close? 2 days, 3 days, 6 weeks? What's close to you? But I'm going to dig a little bit. The next question that I ask them after I get through that one is was the contractor within budget? Because that's another one that eats up an investor. Is these work change orders. We put it in our independent contractor agreement that we put with our contractors that there is never to be an add-on work or add-on order that is not approved by me in writing. And the reason we do that is so that contractor knows that if he sees the wall that needs to be built, he doesn't go buy the material and build the wall and then come to me and say, oh, here's a work change order. No, if he calls me up and says, Zach, I really think you need to build this wall right here. It's going to help. I'll say, great, give me the cost. It's going to cost me to build that wall. And how much extra time is it going to add on to the project? And then I send him a work change order, which is in this manual, and I have him lay it all out. And then if I approve it, then I sign it and I give him a copy. That means that I've accepted the new work change order and price increase or time increase in some cases. Not all the time. Sometimes they can get it fit in, but that's where you get eat up in your budget is these little work change orders. It's the stuff where they call you up and say, yeah, Zach, I saw this and, I really think you should change that. Yeah, go ahead and do it. And then they call you up, hey, Zach, I saw this, yeah, go ahead and do it. Well, the next thing you know, you've said go ahead to 5 different things that all cost about $800 a piece. So now, you follow me? So now you're literally sitting on $4,000 in work change orders that eat up your profit. You may not think of it much because, oh, it's $400. Oh, it's $300. Oh, it's $500. Yeah, but they add up. So you want to just check with the referral. Hey, was he in budget or was she in budget? Well, yeah, they actually came in under budget. That's great. Did you take something out of the project? No, it was everything that we originally talked about. Great. And if they say, no, he was over budget, I would say, well, what created that? Like what was the reason for going over budget? Well, we found this when we ripped up the carpet, the floors were rotted out. We had to replace those. Okay. So that was a work change order that you approved. Yes. Okay. So and here's the thing that you got I always help the referral too, get a clear vision because if this contractor is sending people to this referral, but it's really not the contractor's fault, I help them understand. I say, okay, so that really wasn't an over budget because you approved the work change order. So that was an add to budget. So if you took his original budget and all your approvals for work change orders, was he over those? No. Okay, great. And so that just helps them get clear that he wasn't over budget, right? The contractor was not over budget. The contractor had a budget, found issues. You approved the increase in cost or time. So therefore, your budget moved up every time you approved that. So therefore, he wasn't over budget. But if he's not approving them and he's just coming back and he's saying, hey, look, to finish it, we need an extra $3,000. Well, then, yeah, that's a over budget issue. So now the fifth question that I asked them is, what is one thing that you would like them to do different? I asked that with wholehearted sincerity. I say, look, Mike, you're a referral for Joe. Obviously what we've been talking about, you liked his work. He was on time. He was in budget. But what's one thing that you would have liked him to do different? See, that question lets them dig a little deeper. Okay, he was on time. Okay, he was in budget. Okay, he all that worked. But what was the one thing that drove you crazy? And that's really a very important question. And I'll tell you, out of the years I've done this 6-question test to my referrals, the one thing that pops up more than anything is cleanliness. They just didn't clean up after themselves. I wish they would have swept the floors more. I wish they would have picked up the nails. I wish they would have took their trash out. So one of the things that you'll start to learn is that's something that's very common. So you can always put that in your independent contractor agreement that says that the job site has to be broom swept every evening before contractors leave. And it's just a part of the agreement. Like, look, I don't want to come out to the job site or other people coming to the job site, like granted people to come measure and it's a mess and somebody could trip or step on a nail. And next thing you know, I got somebody trying to sue the insurance provider I have on the property. That's one thing. Other things that I've heard in the past is like foul language, smoking in the property, things like that you just want to confront the contractor about and say, hey, look, I called your references and a couple of things that came up was you had workers smoking in the property. Can't have that. And they wish that you would have been cleaner on the job site. So one of the things that I'm just going to add to this agreement with me and you is that there's absolutely no smoking in the job site and that the property has to be broom swept before you leave every evening. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Great. It's the little things, right? And what those little things do is it makes the contractor realize like you're responsible. You're checking up on them. They don't have free will to do what they want. That's the key. See, where most junior investors go wrong with hiring a contractor is they come into the project looking at the contractor as this almighty know-it-all, and that contractor has dealt with that for so many years that they feel that way too. So therefore, they look at you as this person who's trying to get in real estate and you don't even know what you're doing, and so they're going to dictate the conversation. They're going to try to control how you remodel your property and tell you things that you don't really need to be doing. And so you've got to set that boundary early with them. It's okay to say, look, I'm leaning on your expertise, but at the end of the day, this is my project and this is my money. So let's just make sure we're on the same page. And to do that, we're going to talk about the divorce before we ever get married, and we're going to lay it out in this contract. So if you don't abide by it, then me and you are done. And therefore, I'm held accountable to you too on when I'm going to pay you, how I'm going to pay you, and how that's going to look for me to you. And so when you're straight and right forward with them like that, they know real quick, okay, this person means business. And one of the telltale signs is always when I try to get them to sign the contract. Oh, well, we don't do that. Well, then I don't do you. So
just talking about this makes me think of, do you remember back when me and Rob bought that house and Rob was like adamant he was not going to talk to you about anything real estate? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he was not going to take help from you at all.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening? We had a contractor living in our camper, in our driveway. We were paying for his power, his water, and he was using our bathroom, and he couldn't show up to work. And yeah.
He was living in your property.
Yep. And now that, Rob has accepted help from you.
Yeah.
And contracted help from you.
Especially.
Not that way anymore.
It helps. You know what I mean? It's all about, here's the reality. Look, the first rehab I didn't accept help neither. And I lost $100,000 on it.
I mean, we lost a pop-up camper.
Yeah, well, not just that. You lost more than that because a lot of the work you had to go back and fix.
Yes, the windows, the J channels and the windows.
I remember all
and
that.
The leak. Oh, my gosh.
I remember all that. And just the issues that he should have been aware of and should have done correctly the first time.
I mean, the changing the pitch on the house for no reason.
Yeah, that was absolutely ignorant.
Yep.
Like, why in the world do you change a pitch on? And then the house did not need the pitch changed.
No, and the siding all being taken off, the one window being closed in, so we lost a window, and we had to pay to close it up and seal it. But yet the back room still was leaking from the J channels when you had all the siding off, so you could see that the windows were not installed correctly, and then we had to redo it.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's why we do references. That's why we get the training. That's why we do all of this.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. And so the key to understanding this is like just running into this business and think you're just going to hire a contractor because he's cheap is actually the most expensive contractor you will hire on your project.
Yes.
You may not believe me, but trust me when I tell you that. The cheapest contractor that bids your job is the most expensive contractor you'll ever hire. Take that to the bank, my friend. And the reason is because they're just trying to get the job. But the problem is they've priced it so low that they can't even survive on it. And now they got to hop around to 15 other jobs, taking money from this job to finish this job, from money from this job to finish that job. And now they're playing the round robin dancy, I forget what it's called. Red Rover, come on over process. So, but the last question that I always end with them on is this. Would you hire them again?
Nope.
See, right there's a very good answer. Nope. All right. I'm not going to hire that contractor. Now, let me be clear. I'm also not going to be biased about this. That's why I ask all these questions the way I do, because, look, like I said earlier, there might be things that homeowner didn't agree with that the contractor did, but it wasn't a reflection on the contractor. Does that make sense? Like, oh, they went over budget and, well, we had massive tornadoes and storms. Okay, well, that would have, not budget, but time frame. Well, that could have affected that. But if they don't see that, then I'm like, okay, so maybe they're not being a little realistic about it. Then the next thing I'm going to be wondering is, why in the world did this contractor give me this referral, right? But I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna just be like, oh, you're right. I'm gonna think logically. Oh, they went over budget. Well, how did they go over budget? Oh, well, we had to build a wall and we had to replace some windows. Oh, did he come to you and talk to you about that ahead of time? Yes. Did you agree to have him do that? Yes. Okay, so he really wasn't over budget. You just had to increase your budget. Oh, well, I guess if that's the way you look at it. Yeah, well, that's how you look at it, right? He didn't go over budget. You had to increase your budget. So when I get to the last one, if that's the type of conversation I'm having and I say, would you hire him again? And they say no. Well, I've got to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Now I got to call the next referral and kind of see what they say. But, if they say yes and everything is in order, then I know that I'm probably talking to a good contractor at this point, and I move on to the next referral, and I move on to the next referral. So those are some key points that you got to keep in your mind when you're talking about contractors. Do the referral test. Get 3 referrals and go through the 6-question test with them. Would I partner with a contractor? Yes, but here's the thing. it would have to be in an agreement that makes sense. Most contractors want to partner with you, and it's weird agreements. Like it's, hey, look, I'll do all the work, and we'll split the profits. Okay, great. And then they say, and I'm just going to charge you the hard cost, like the cost of materials and the cost of labor. Okay, great. Well, the next thing you know, they're putting their labor in there. And you're like, whoa. You're double dipping here, right? Like you can't charge me for your labor and then want half of the deal. That's not how a partnership works. You put in time, you put in money, however the case may go, and then you split at the end. But a lot of contractors can't do that because why? They've got bills to pay. And so they're trying to get something out of it. Now, how do you overcome that? You say, I'll give you a draw up to 50% of your expected profits. So let's say you're going to make, I don't know, 30,000 on the deal and he's going to make 15, you're going to make 15. So I would say to him, look, I will allow you to take draws each week up to 50% of your expected profits. And the reason that I do that is because what happens if I've got a $30,000 expected profit and I end up selling it and I only make 15 now, right? Well, the point is he got his 50 already, and I keep the other 50. So that's just the way you got to make sure that you're thinking of all the different ways that you're partnering, and it has to be fair. It has to be fair. Another way to do it is if you're going to be making 30 and they're getting 15, you're getting 15, and let's just say it's a 4-week job. Well, that's $7,500 over 4 weeks. There's no reason you need to pay them that much. I mean, not at all. I tell them, hey, look, you could even set the parameter. Hey, look, our expected profits is $15,000 each. You're going to be in and out of this job in 4 weeks. I'll give you a draw of $1,000 a week. I'll give you a draw of $1,000 a week to get you through the project. And then when we sell it, I'll give you the balance. And then you're even safer. Does that make sense? Because now you're not even getting to that 50% mark of his potential profits.
So Elsia, she says, hello. Manny says, hey, Steve, we got to put the band together. Steve said, yeah, we do. Zach's touring band. Mike said he got the book and he's got it open. Manny said, check licenses, complaints, and litigation history. Robert says, late but glad to be here. Bob from PA. Manny said, don't sign a contractor for your entire renovation budget. And Keith says, how do you vet contractors for out-of-town properties?
Okay, good one. So, let's go to Manny's thing. I don't know why you would say that. Don't sign a contract with the contractor for your entire renovation budget. I'm not sure why he would put that out there, because if I hire a contractor and my renovation budget is $30,000 and the contractor says, hey, look, I can do everything that you need done. I'll bid it all out for you, and it comes in at $29,000. Well, I'm going to sign that contract. I'm going to sign that with him because basically I got one person that's going to do it all, and it's within my budget that I need the project done with. As long as it's everything. Like if I've got a $30,000 budget, it's got to be everything. I'm talking vents. I'm talking track. I'm talking everything because, maybe this is what Manny's talking about. If I set a $30,000 budget, but yet there's other things I've got to do that he's not doing, well, yeah, I don't want to pay him 30 and now I got to add another 4,000 onto that. So
I guess a question that I'm left with after you say that is regarding to Manny's, is that including materials? So is that a contractor bidding out
everything
with materials included?
Everything.
You don't have to buy anything.
Because you remember in this training, we always teach that the contractor bids in 2 columns, labor expense and material expense. Okay. And then we do that because part of the negotiation with the contractor, I think it's on page... That's in here somewhere. When we negotiate with the contractor.
Even John just posted, do you buy materials or have contractors buy their own?
So on page 132, On page 132, we talk about the 2 separate bids, the 3 bids on every job, asking the bids to be separated, material and labor. But here's why, because now I don't want to negotiate the price. We talk about in the training how you negotiate a bid. You don't go to them and say, oh man, you came in at 30, I got to be less than that. They hear that all the time, guys. You're no different than everybody else. They hear that, and the first thing they go is, oh, here we go again. If that's your way of negotiating, you're failing miserably. You're failing miserably. The proper way to negotiate with a contractor is get them to quote the labor and the materials. And then when they come back at 30,000 and you got to be at 25, then you can sit down with them and you can start to have a logical conversation and say, Mike, I know you came in at 30. That's out of my budget, but I want to talk about how can we, maybe alter materials or get different materials, or is there something that's out there that's new that we could use that costs less? So now what happens is they don't feel like you're attacking them in their labor cost, but you're saying, hey, let's work together to figure out what's a strategy that we can deploy, maybe change the materials out, maybe use something different, maybe shop for some discounted stuff to start getting that cost down. And they'll come back and say, well, look, if we use this material instead of this or this instead of this, I can probably get it down 3,000. Great. So now I'm 2,000 off from my budget. And so that's when you'll see the contractor start to actually give in a little bit without putting up a guard, because they'll see that you attack the material first or the construction first. Well, maybe we don't add this whole little thing over here and we just do this and this instead. So now they see that you're not trying to nickel and dime them and how they pay their bills and how they put food on their table, but you're really trying to figure out how to get the cost down in a creative way. And what will happen is if you get close enough, they'll always kick in. They'll say, well, look, this is great. I know you're not where you are. You're about $2,000 off. I could probably kick in, $800 to $1,000 off of the labor side. Mike, that sounds great. Let's do the deal. Okay, it's 26 instead of 25. But what happened now is now you've got a contractor that doesn't look at you as somebody that's going to nickel and dime him every time. So he's always going to come in high on every bid he gives you because he knows you're going to do what? Nickel and dime him, nickel and dime him. But he's going to come in with a realistic bid all the time because he's going to know that you're not going to look at him and say, well, man, you're too high. You're just too high. But he's going to know that you're going to have a conversation. You're going to sit down and say, well, look, maybe we need to change some materials on this thing, or maybe we need to rethink the things we're going to do to the house. And so that helps you when it comes to negotiation. But one of them was the question is, how do you deal with a contractor out of town for out of town properties? You go through the same vetting process, exact same vetting process, except when I ask for referrals from the contractor, I'm going to ask them, do you have any referrals from homeowners or investors that you did work for that didn't live here? Yeah, I dealt with some guys out of California. Okay, can I have one of their contacts? I'm going to ask that. And then I'm going to ask for even more referrals, and just like anything else. But on top of that, you got to have a check and balance. So there's a couple ways to do that. Either the contractor needs to send you pictures of the project every Monday and every Friday, or you need to hire a We Go Look service to go out to the job every Wednesday and take pictures and see the progression of the job to make sure. The other thing that you want to do is on that property, you want to put a digital lockbox that actually connects to your phone in some way, or give you the ability to see time of entrance. And that's always been helpful for out-of-state jobs, is like, if I get a property going, I get the power turned on, I actually call out, get some, get a little Wi-Fi service started. It's a couple extra $100, but I'll put a security system on the property, especially the front door, that when the contractor opens the door, I get pinged. Boom, contractor's in the job. When the contractor leaves and locks the door, bing, I get pinged. The door's been locked. So I can see of time of entry as they're going in and they're coming out, and you can set them up sometimes with 2 or 3 different codes. So I give the contractor a code. Let's say I got a granite company coming in, and I give them a code, and this is if I'm doing some stuff on my own. But if not, I give the contractor a code, and he goes in and out of that property, and I can tell as it's happened. But it's a little bit of an extra setup. You got to get the power on. You got to get the cable company out there to set up some type of cable and Wi-Fi, so that you can add a digital type security box to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. Today was a good day. It's always a good day. And I'm going to be heading out of here and seeing how my kids' first day of school went today. Bye now. You've been listening to the Real Estate Investing Talk Show. I'm Zack Childress, and I'm on a mission to create 10,000 real estate bosses over the next year. Will you be one of them? Head over to my website, reisuccessacademy.com/web class, and register for my free web class where you'll discover how to escape from the 9-to-5 grind and become your own boss in real estate. See you there.